Welcome to Oakle's channel. Thanks for watching today. Let's talk about a brand new game that just came out called Onion Assault. Now, I was really looking forward to this game because it's pretty much a spiritual successor to Super Mario Bros. 2, the United States version for the NES, and I absolutely adore that game. I know it's sort of the black sheep of the Mario family, but to me, it is like one of the greatest games ever made. I had so much fun playing as a child, and I still go back to it from time to time. So when I saw that Onion Assault was coming out, I really couldn't be more excited because it had all the same mechanics according to the trailers. You know, you pull little vegetables out from the ground, throw them at enemies, pick the enemies up, tossed enemies as well. Even the artwork is harkening back to some old NES artwork from Mario 1 and Mario 2. I mean, just look at the artwork here from Mario 2 versus the artwork for Onion Assault. I mean, Mario is holding the onion in pretty much the exact same way as the character from Onion Assault, and the background is pretty much the same as his other Mario picture as far as like the castle in the background. It's like they combined these two Mario pictures to make the picture for Onion Assault. It's very obvious where they're basically taking their inspiration from on this game, and it's going to show through pretty much the entire game. However, does that make a game automatically good if I can see where all the inspirations came from? Maybe, maybe not. That's what we're going to break down today as we discuss Onion Assault. Now, when you start the game up here, you have a very basic story. You have Pele Loke and Mama Loke, and you get to choose whichever character you want. And they're basically just sort of relaxing at their house here. And this random army shows up, tries to attack them, and they go crazy, throwing, vegetables and onions at them. And they run them off, and they essentially spend the entire game trying to search down this army to destroy him. Who knows exactly the motivations? I don't know. It's not revealed in the intro at all. It's not talked about throughout the game. And so the story, convoluted, but at the same time, you're playing this game more for the gameplay than you are for a story. But regardless, you have these two characters you can choose from, and you would expect them to have like different mechanics as far as like how they function, sort of like they do in Mario 2, but actually both characters are exactly the same. Neither one has like a higher jump or a floaty move or a lower jump or better attack. They're exactly the same, so it really doesn't matter which character you play as, and I ended up playing as both of them sporadically throughout the game. Now, as you're traveling throughout all these levels trying to find the army that attacked you at the beginning of the game, of course, you're going to come across all these little plants that you can pluck from the ground. And when you do that, that's naturally where you're going to get your attacks from. You get little onions you can pluck from the ground, plums, hearts, extra body armor. There's all kinds of stuff that you're going to pluck from the ground, as well as different items you can pick up, like barrels or little stones, or just a ton of stuff that you can pick up and use as weapons inside the game, and the enemies themselves. But there's one thing that this game is missing that Mario 2 had that made Mario 2 just awesome when it came to plucking things from the ground, and that's the potions. In Mario 2, it was so exciting when you plucked a potion from the ground, you could toss it down, you could go into basically like the alternate world, the little dark world there, and that's where you find like your little mushrooms and such and extra coins. And I loved that as a kid, and using like trying to figure out where to throw the potions down, to me that was like a huge highlight of Mario 2, and that's completely missing from Onion Assault. And I'm not saying that Onion Assault needs to completely carbon copy Mario 2, but that was something I really enjoyed in Mario 2, and for the game to be trying to recreate or be an inspiration or a spiritual successor to Mario 2, I really wish they had that part in the game. And another thing that I was really expecting to be able to do in this game is the super jump. You know, like in Mario 2 where you duck down, you stay down for a while, you turn white, and then you just sort of jump way up in the air. The super jump is missing in Onion Assault. And once again, I'm not saying it has to be a carbon copy of the two, but it's another aspect of Mario 2 that I really enjoyed, and it sort of enhanced the gameplay as far as like having extra moves to do. Where this game pretty much just has a plug button and your jump button, and that's pretty much it. And so it's not as varied as Mario 2 in that aspect. But there are other things in this game that are more varied than Mario 2. For example, like they have different switches you have to hit on by throwing different objects at them. That's a little bit different in this game. There's some parts where you have to actually like pick snow up and throw the snow into another area as you're plucking it up and throwing it down to make like a little ledge that you can jump up on to get to another area. Or there's a part where you have to throw vegetables at a little fan to make it turn in order to get your little platform to move across the level. I mean, they actually try to mix the gameplay up a little bit in their own way, but at the same time, most of these just sort of feel like one-off gimmicks instead of like a core gameplay mechanic that would change the way the game is played. Now, as you travel throughout the game, you're obviously going to come across a variety of different levels, and they are pretty varied as far as like the environment goes, because you get like a winter level, an autumn level, a grassland level, a darkness level, a candy level. I mean, there's a pretty good variety to the levels. However, every level, even though it has like a different atmosphere to it, they all sort of come off feeling very samey. And what I mean by that is there's nothing like unique about the levels or anything to interact with. Like in Mario 2, you travel to a level, all of a sudden you got these wells down here that are shooting out their water spouts to lift you up into different areas. Or maybe you travel to another level and you have like waterfalls coming down with little logs and little fish coming across them as well. Or maybe you travel to another level and you're like inside this cavern. Or maybe another level and you got this giant mouse over here throwing bombs at you. And there's just so much variety to Mario 2. And this game, even though the levels are different, they all feel the same, as in like there's no like new mechanics in them or nothing to like make you excited or remember that level. I remember them purely by their backgrounds and nothing that's in the level themselves. And to me, that's a little bit poorer level design, because if you just change the backgrounds out, all the levels are mostly interchangeable, and that's not really a plus for a game. I'd say the only levels that sort of stood out as far as like something different mechanic-wise would have been the ice levels, and they had all these ice platforms. As you run on them, of course, you naturally slide, but it's very difficult to get a run and start on these ice, and the physics for the ice running, it just always felt really off, and I never could get the jumps right, and it just took a lot of practice. But even after the practice, I still didn't like the way the ice felt. It just felt a little bit off. And so even when they did sort of mix up a different mechanic in the level itself, I can't really say I liked it a whole lot. And while we're on the subject of the levels, let's talk about the enemies in the levels as well. The enemies in the levels, they all sort of follow the same pattern here, as far as like they're either these little creatures with blocks in their heads, or they're soldiers with blocks in their heads as well, with a variety of weapons, and occasionally get something like a little ghost or a vampire bat. But for the most part, the enemies are the same throughout almost the entire game, and there's not a lot of variety to match what the biome is as far as the level goes. And so it once again makes it sort of feel like the background of the level is just sort of a interchangeable between, because even the enemies don't really line up so much with the level themselves. Let's talk about some of the positive aspects of the game as well. And one area I think the game like really does shine pretty bright in is going to be the boss battles. At the close of every main level, you do get a boss battle, and the first one sort of, it's alright as far as like, just throwing the bombs at it and blowing it up. But as they go further on, the bosses actually get pretty unique and pretty enjoyable. As far as like, there's still going to be like, tank mechanics and stuff like that, or robots, but they're having different mechanics, like you have to throw the bombs on little spider webs to knock it up into the boss, or you have to like jump on top of the boss, flip it upside down, throw it at the little pillars. You have to like bait it out at certain spots. You have to time it just right to jump on it to try to get it further down into the cave, and then throw it into the lava. That was a really fun boss fight as well. And even the one with the drills that are coming out here and trying to attack you, you have to jump on top of them and pull the batteries out. The boss battles are actually really fun parts of the game. And I don't know if there's like a boss run they're ever going to add, but a boss run in this game would actually be pretty legit, because it's one of the best aspects of this game, and it sort of took the mechanic of lifting things and throwing it to a different level than Mario did. And this game also allows for collectibles inside the levels. There's these little onion coins in each level. There's 3 of them, and you have to find them throughout the level, and you're probably not going to find them on your first playthrough, and so you're going to have to go through the level multiple times. So there is a reason to go back to the levels even after you've beaten the game, and I enjoy that, where a game actually offers like a secondary challenge for players who want to go back to it, and so that's pretty neat. Yes, I would rather the game just be more unique and makes you want to come back for the fun of it, but at least they have a secondary mode to come back to want to play the game again if you want to 100% it. But overall, Onion Assault is not a bad game. It just comes off feeling sort of bland when you compare it to its source material, because everyone who plays this game is going to compare it to Mario 2. I mean, they wear their inspirations on the sleeve all the way from like the little screen where they show you before you even download the game. You know what you're getting with this game, and it just fails to live up to its inspiration pretty much on every corner. And so I think most players are going to be a little disappointed with it. They're going to enjoy it for a little while as far as like, hey, this is like Mario 2, but then they're going to realize so many fun aspects and so many wacky and just creative aspects of Mario 2 are missing, and they're probably not going to come back to this game a whole lot after they complete it one time. They might go back in 100% to get little onion tokens, which is unique for the game, but I can't see it as being a game you're going to return to. You're probably just going to play Mario 2. I know personally that's what I would do. But the game sells for $8 on the eShop, and I personally think it's probably a little expensive for $8. I'd say it's probably maybe a $4.99 game, or if it goes on sale, I'd say maybe $2.99 be a good price for this game. If it's above $4.99, I'd probably give it a pass. I paid the full $7.99 because I was so excited for it, but I think most players could probably pass on it until it goes on sale. But if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Check out my other videos listed up above, and as always, go out there, find a great game to play. Just simply have a great rest of the day.